how are you? Since this has been a challenge for entrepreneurs and for people who are goal driven and have big dreams for their life to create something amazing, is the art of just not ruining your life in the essence of your goals and your ambition and your careers or building your empires. There is this balance that happens between, and balance isn't the
You don't love balance,
I
baby.
don't like the word balance because I think it gives a fake, I think it gives a,
Persona, like a.
yeah, like it's supposed to be in harmony.
I used to love the word balance, and you hated the balance, and I didn't understand why you didn't like balance. I
Yeah.
could never understand that, so it's a good topic to
Well,
talk into.
it says that things are supposed to be in harmony, and the truth is that things are not in harmony very often in our life, and that there are moments like maybe where you take a trip to Maui and it feels very amazing and in harmony, and then there's times that you're building your business, or maybe you have some big dreams and ambitions, or you're closing a gap in your life and you feel lopsided. But something that's become very, very apparent, like this has been a problem forever, but what's been really, really apparent right now, as the Clubhouse app is out, you've got Facebook and you've got Instagram and you've got TikTok, and I actually am hiring a TikTok coach right now to help me with TikTok. I think it's going to help me on all the different platforms. And as we're building out these platforms, which by the way we rent and we don't own, right? So this is why I say watch where you put your time. There is this real challenge that people are having around how do they run their life? How do they run like their businesses, their careers, their goals, their ambitions without like ruining their life in the process? So where do you want to start?
You start. Let's run it. Where are you at?
So we were just having a conversation behind closed doors that has stimulated us actually opening up this conversation, which is the conversation of even Clubhouse, right? The conversation of Clubhouse.
Yeah.
So people are getting on Clubhouse, and it's a great app. Like on Monday, I'm doing a room at 11 a.m. California time, which is just for ladies, guys, around how women they're pulled, our time is pulled differently than men. Our time is pulled, and the demands on our time, how do we still build 7-figure empires? And sometimes 7 figures, I have clients, they're doing 7 figures in a weekend. And so
on behalf of the men, I want to ask, how is that not relevant to men?
it is, honey, but we
Okay,
just
well,
we
that's fine.
just
It's all
we
good.
just did it. We Okay, so here's a great example. Like this is driving me nuts because I'm being really honest with you. So as you're asking that, like it's
Yeah.
driving me nuts because I find it distracting.
Got
And
it.
so, this is the conversation I want to have in front of the audience, because I think a lot of times we have this conversation like you're seeing pictures online, you're seeing videos online, and you're like, oh, their life is so perfect. And then you go back to your spouses or the people you're dating and you're like, why can't it look like that, right?
Sorry, honey.
Why
Excuse
can't
me.
it look like that? And so, I just want to have this open and honest conversation about this stuff.
Let's
So
do it.
Clubhouse, I think, is a problem right now. I think it's a problem for a lot of people's boundaries. And I think that a lot of people are feeling the need.
Excuse me.
Do you have to go?
No, I'm good. I'm just sneezing.
Okay, so, and my computer's whacking out for some reason. It keeps like resetting. But I think people they don't know how to deal with the boundaries, and boundaries is not something I ever like to talk about. But the conversation of how do you, babe, I
there
know,
a
don't worry about it. Just stay with me because I'm
can
trying
do
to have
this.
I'm trying to have the same conversation we had
I can do
behind
this.
closed
I
doors.
can
So
do
this
this.
is exactly
I
what it
can do
looks
this.
like, right? So we're having this great conversation behind closed doors, and what's happening right now is you're getting distracted on
I'm trying
what
to
are
see
people
people-
saying.
I'm
So let's
connected
just
to
have
this.
the real conversation.
I'm with you. Let's have the real conversation.
Okay. So the real conversation is the conversation that people are sitting on Clubhouse for hours and hours and hours instead of like creating time for their families or creating time for their fitness. And even though we're doing a training on Monday, which we've planned for the last 2.5 weeks, where we're training female entrepreneurs how to create $1 million businesses on Clubhouse on Monday at 11 o'clock California time. And that's going to roll, but it's going to be done like a training. But the truth is that people are sitting on this app and they're not scheduling their life, which I
Yeah.
love what you guys are doing with Clubhouse, because
Yeah.
you've started something called the Growth Network,
Yeah.
where people can actually go and register and find out like what topics are being talked about. Because here's what's crazy. You're jumping into rooms. You have no idea who's speaking. You have no idea if they have the real results.
Yeah.
The bios are not always telling the full truth. Right? Like I was thinking about this the other.
7 figures and 8 figures under.
Yeah, like it's not telling the full truth.
Yeah.
And there's even more smoke and mirrors. And the great thing is when you hear them talk, you can usually sense it, right? But like how many people right now, just go in the chat, how many people right now are finding that like something like Clubhouse is like sucking your time? You probably had a time issue before Clubhouse, but it's gotten even more amplified. Like go in the chat and share that with us. It's gotten even more
Yes.
amplified, right? And your family, if you're on an Android, I'm sorry, you consider it a blessing.
Yeah, for now.
Consider it a blessing because it's one less thing that you have to worry about right now, but it's coming, right? And so, let's talk about the addiction behind it, and let's talk
Yeah.
about how you actually go about changing this. You had a realization
What a
today.
great opportunity this is for me. I am a Clubhouse addict. Yes, I am a Clubhouse addict. I came into it with this idea of, wow, what a great platform. I can serve so many people, existing clients. Then I went to this conversation of, I got to create a strategy on this, and I got addicted to the strategy on Clubhouse. Then I got addicted to the numbers on Clubhouse. When I used to not think about, I don't even do posts on Instagram. And
Yeah.
so here I am investing so much of my time in Clubhouse. So I think this is now, as we're talking about this, is becoming real for me. Is like, this is now an addiction for people that may not be a video person or an image person, but they are audio people. So like at one point people were addicted to blogs, doing blogs, writing blogs, reading blogs.
I don't even know if it matters
But
about that.
I know, but I'm finding that it is an addiction.
I know, but you know why it's an addiction, and you Android owners are going to know this soon, right? But just like have the conversation, because this conversation is happening in different areas of our life, and we need to talk about it so that you can't keep going on and having like banging your head against the wall. Like eventually you're going to get a divorce if you don't spend time with
I
your
know.
spouse. eventually, you're going to, gain too much weight and find it hard to take that weight off because you're not prioritizing yourself. However, this could be a moment of realization
Yeah.
that you're not alone, and that, every human being has the tendency to want to be important and want to be needed. And Clubhouse is just an amplification of that need. And so the reason why you feel addicted to it is because you get to make a difference for people right away, but it also gives you the feedback of I'm important.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
And,
That
and
goes
the-
true. That's true.
And then what
for everything.
happens is like our son's.
Well, can I just share
Yeah,
this?
go.
Okay, I'll just share. It's really okay. So this morning, I just want to just own
Yeah,
it, 100%.
yeah.
This morning, I was 33 minutes late to a coaching call with 80 people.
You handled it really well, though.
So I just wanted to just like let that in for a second. So it would be like if you are a fireman and you are being called and you're 33 minutes late to save somebody's life. That's really what it is. And so there's 80 people counting on me, and I'm a leadership coach, and here I am being completely the opposition of that. Like I'm not leading my life. I'm being reactive at 8:33 a.m. as I jump out of bed to be with 80 people. And you know what's
Which,
interesting?
by the way, he was also up at 5 a.m. because I was up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he was up at 5 a.m. and he said, "I'm still tired. I'm gonna go to bed." And I said, "I just work out or something right now. Like don't like it's 5:30 in the morning by the time he went back downstairs." I was like, "There's not much time to sleep now at this point. Like get up and move your day."
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna go to sleep." And so that's a great example when we press snooze on our life.
Yeah.
And notice the areas in your life that you press snooze on your life, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna rest a little bit more. And don't get me wrong, rest is important. It's so important.
Yeah.
But like if you actually, Chalene Johnson did a podcast on napping, and the circadian rhythm of your body. Napping is extraordinarily unhealthy, right? And so actually going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time, or when you wake up to stay up, it's actually much more healthier than to wake up and then go back to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And nap if you've been up. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah,
So
I'll
you
keep
missed
going.
the call.
So I missed the call, and what's interesting is I got the feedback from, because that's what I shared with the group this morning, and what was crazy is they all were like, "Thank you for sharing." I got
I got
Texas-
messages on Instagram.
Yeah.
People were like, I
Thank
got
you.
messages on Instagram.
So yeah, I mean, I'm human. We have those moments. And so what I want to just share, like, what's interesting is Zach gave me the feedback yesterday.
Who is our son,
Who is
if
our
you're
son.
new
Yeah,
to here.
if you're
Our
new,
5-year-old
our
son who's
5-year-old
turning
son.
6.
He said, "Dad, you're always on your phone." And I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm not on my phone all the time." Like, that was going through my head, excuses. Then you gave me feedback last night. And you gave me feedback a couple times last night, and then some more times. And then I didn't, I was listening to it, and I kind of heard it, but clearly it didn't sink all the way in. And this morning I got a wake-up call in my life. So just to see that all the feedback was happening, I'm like, okay, now I have to have an interruption. I have to have a massive interruption. So, what it really came down to is like, okay, clearly, you've been telling me this recently, actually. I'm now hearing it. You said, you're just being comfortable. I'm like, no, I'm not being comfortable. You don't know I'm not being comfortable. But it is, I am being comfortable, or else that would have never happened. I'm being comfortable enough to say, hey, I'm going to be on this new platform. So I was being comfortable. But if I look at it deeper, is I'm not being intimate with time. So
Yeah.
I haven't been being intimate with time for a little while now.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, this is an opportunity. This platform actually created an opportunity. This addiction created an opportunity to see that I'm not being as intimate with time as I used to be at one point. At one point, I was very intimate with time.
When I met you.
And I'm totally not intimate with time. Remember, I used to wake up at 5 a.m., like, boom, out of bed, never come out.
So we have 10 minutes, but we have
go
a
ahead.
podcast
That's right.
interview coming up. So I wanted to share with you guys, sometimes the people in your life that are giving you feedback, first of all, if you're giving somebody feedback in your life right now that you love and you care about, like my feedback to Ash is not like, you're a loser, I can't believe it's not like that. It's like, babe, like, you got to put some boundaries around this, because if you don't, you're going to find that your son's going to start giving you feedback. And I don't say this in front of our son, right? And all of a sudden, Zach says to him last night, he says, Dad, you're always on your phone, and you said that you'd come play with me. And I'm watching him come play with him. He's trying to be a good dad and fit his son in, right? And that's not his intention, and I know his commitment. And so I'm not trying to make him feel bad. I'm not yelling at him. I'm not any of that stuff. But I am bringing it up, which can sound like I don't want to hear that coming from the other person. But I do my best to stand very, very neutral in just saying, hey, I care about you, I love you, and this is not your vision, right? This is not your vision. And then we noticed that our son started replicating. He lost his belt at karate, right? For not being present, not being focused.
Intimate.
And guess who his idol is, right? So now this isn't guilt and shame. We're biblical. We don't believe in guilt and shame at all. Like, in fact, this morning you were incredible when you were like, I can't believe that I'm like 30 minutes late. Like, and he's like starts to feel that energy of like, that guilt energy. And then
I'm not good enough now. I can't do this.
You shifted really quick, and you looked at me, and he asked his wife for help. He asked me for help, and he said, honey, I need your help right now. How can I turn this around? How can I turn this around? How can I change the agreement with them? How can I make it better for them? And I'm like, I don't know what you can do. And I'm like, let me think. And because he was so consistent with, I need your help to think through this. How can I make this better for them? How can I over deliver, which is different than bringing your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend flowers. That's amazing. But honestly, by the time they've gotten flowers by the 5th time for the same shit, they're over it. Now your flowers they have no integrity with them, right? And so you got to learn how to partner with the people in your life where you realize, like, where do I fall short in things? Where do I need their support? Because they're going to mirror back to us how we stand for them. So you shifted.
Yep.
You walked into that room. I'm sure you were battling with your mind, but you walked into that room, and he stood there like a powerful leader, and he gave to them. And in a way, and I said to him, first of all, use this as an opportunity, because everybody messes up.
Yeah.
And, again, we're biblical, so I call it the enemy, right? The devil, Satan. Like, he would love you to think that you are a piece of you-know-what. He would love you to show up shameful, like guilty,
blamed.
like, and honestly, and hear me when I say this, that is what a losing strategy would look like. A losing strategy would be to grab a hold of that. There's no leadership in that. That's a losing strategy. There's no respect in that. There's no I look up to you in that. There's none of that. You have to shift and go, I forgive myself. and I'm going to show up. And I've said this to some of my friends that have had somebody in their life that is like to them. And it's like, go into a forgiveness process and forgive yourself completely, and then speak it to that person.
Yeah.
You know what? I am sorry, and I forgive myself, and I hope you can forgive me too.
Yes.
And so that you can get your power back. And then it's up to you to show up in a different way. But if you keep trying to show up in a different way, apologizing your way forward, then
you're not actually going forward.
Yeah, and you're begging for love and power and leadership, and they're not giving it to you because they know that this is a failing strategy intuitively.
Yeah.
So we share this with you guys all to say, listen, like, we're walking through this together as a couple.
Yes, we are.
Our son is walking through this with us. In fact, Clubhouse reminds me of kids and their online gaming systems where they're going into other people's rooms and playing games with them. We just found out that our son gave his iPad password to an older boy at school. And, you know, even though I'm biblical, obviously I know all the stories about what happens at church sometimes, like some of the most trusted people, but that's not just a church. Half of the sexual predators are your uncles, your aunts, your best friend's husband or son or daughter, or, you know what I mean? Like, this is why our son is not allowed to stay at anybody's house, and he will never be allowed to stay at anybody's house. You can judge me for that all you want, but he will never spend the night at somebody's house, because I know what the statistics are, and I'm not going to put blinders on and go, oh, that will never happen to our kid. So I got to show him videos of little boys that are playing online, and the chats pop up, and it's, you know, if you go to my Instagram, Shanda Sumter, and look at my stories, and go watch the video I post on it. It is so profound to watch, because we think it's always a little girl thing. It is so profound that this month we have donated a bunch of money to Christine Kane. We're in the process of doing that right now, around human trafficking. And then we're encouraging people like you to go to our Heartcore Gives page, which I wasn't intending to say this, but I shamelessly say, go to heartcoregives.com, and literally we are assembling different products and services to teach you how to build businesses, and giving to you our stuff for free to go and donate $55, $100. There's a couple different options on the pages. You can do a one-time give, or you can do a reoccurring give. And every month we're picking different God-anointed places. And the only reason why I chose that, yes, I am biblical, but the reason why I chose that is multiple different cities and countries, and then they had faith-driven nonprofits go in. And because the faith-driven brings the relief, like the physical relief and the money, but they also bring the faith. You know, an entrepreneur without faith is isolation.
Yes.
You know, a give without teaching somebody that there's something bigger than the jet, there's something bigger, there's just something bigger than you making a lot of money and building something. I know you know that intuitively, but I can't even imagine what life really looks like without like really having a connection that's so much bigger, because eventually the hustle doesn't stay at the same hustle level, because everybody has a comfortable mark.
Yeah.
And when you hit that comfortable mark, guess what? That's where the trauma triggers are coming.
That's right.
That's where depression's coming in. That's where the feeling of not being good enough, that's where all that comes in. So you better have a connection with something bigger. So because the studies have showed that people are taught faith and taught biblical principles, what happens is that those cities and countries actually rehabilitate. So that's why we chose that versus just straight nonprofits, but I love nonprofits. So we're giving 100% of that money away, and we're giving 10% of our income away. So this month it's on human trafficking. So we have a podcast coming up. Any final last words?
Hey, yeah, just listen to the feedback you've been receiving. Be honest with yourself.
Don't defend it.
Don't defend it. Own it. Own it, and then create a commitment to move it forward. That's it.
So good. I'll ask you, if you like this live, please share it. Share it with somebody that needs to hear this, and maybe we can save a relationship. Maybe we can create faith in somebody's life. Maybe we encourage people to give to Heartcore Gives, which I don't take any of that. 100% goes away. We match our money with yours, and I believe that we have massive favor on our company and definitely on my life. And I would love to share that favor with you as we pool our money together to make a difference in the power of just a higher faith. All right, you guys, so much love to you, and we'll see you soon.
Much love.
Bless
Bye.
you.